You need to make sure you have those 4 things. Do you have a rent roll? And they go, what's a rent roll? It's always a best practice to not make your customers guess what the hell your product is. We can structure it 100 different ways so he doesn't have to pay taxes on that sale, right? That's terms. Hey, Chris, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I've got my dad, who's also one of the partners over here too as well.
Hey, wow, look at that freaking beard. Holy moly.
You like that?
Yeah, well, dude, it's amazing.
Thank you for your time. Really appreciate you responding. We've been watching your YouTube shorts, YouTube videos for a while. I want to tell you a little bit about us, our company. Then we'll tell you a little bit about the deal and then why we're reaching out to you. So we own a company called Seller's Choice. We just started about a month and a half ago, and we're about to hit 100,000 for our first month starting. We have a flip going on and a couple of 2 families and a 4 family we're pursuing. But this deal right here is, it's around 400 property. It's about 400 units. It's a huge opportunity for us, and we want to make sure we capture that opportunity. The owner of these properties, he's like 83, owns like 10 companies, and he wants to seller finance everything. And he wants to donate it all to his trust and then to his nonprofit organization. He told us, he said, Chris, I need to sell around $50 million worth of real estate, and I'm not afraid to sell it at a discount because the death sales tax is higher than the capital gains, even on them being fully depreciated out. With something of this size, we wanted to reach out to you. You're the leading force in creative financing, it seems like. So that's kind of a little bit about the deal, a little bit about us and why we're reaching out.
All right, couple of things. So number 1, always introduce yourself with your name in a text message. Most of the time, if somebody does not reply, even put their name in the text message, I literally just delete it and move on with my day. And then I thought, okay, before I give you a list of things you should have, let's have this conversation. You should be wholesaling this deal because anybody of stature that can help you on a deal this size doesn't want to be your partner. People can't pay me enough money to help them. I don't want to help people on their deals. I want to buy deals, right? Mm-hmm. So when people are like, hey, Pace, can we JV on a deal? I'm like, I don't want to JV on a deal with you. Mm-hmm. I'll help you so I can buy the deal and you can assign it to me, but I don't want to be partners with you because I've just been doing this so long that what happens is in the very beginning, I'd say 8, 9, 10 years ago, people would come to me and I'd say, yeah, let's JV. Then we'd become partners. And I'm the only one that has any money in the partnership. And they're like, man, I have no money. And a roof goes bad and it costs $7,000 to fix a roof. So I'm 50% owner. So I throw $3,500 in, they're 50% owner. So they're like, I have no money. And I'm like, why the freak did I partner with you? And then also there's other situations where I'll get into partnerships with people and they'll say stuff like, hey, we really need to sell this house because I got to pay for my daughter's wedding. And I'm like, what does your daughter's wedding have to do with our partnership? I'm not selling this property. It's cash flowing, it's growing in value, and you want to sell it to pay for your daughter's wedding? Go wholesale a deal. You just have differing viewpoints with people, like even you and your dad that are partners, you grew up in your dad's house. There's a similar culture and similar belief. So like, it's easier for you guys to be partners than it would ever be easy for you and I to be partners. So we can joint venture on a deal, but we can never be partners, if that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense.
And I don't mean never. I mean, there's people I do partner with, but we do 10, 15 deals together over 3 to 6 months. And all of a sudden it's like, man, we really have a good culture fit here. Let's partner on something, right? I would assume that in this situation, you need resources. Those resources could be a variety of things. They could be credibility. They could be the knowledge of how to underwrite a deal. They could be proof of funds. They could be the paperwork or the know-how of even understanding how to underwrite in order to give an offer. Like you're probably just like, okay, the guy has motivation, and in wholesale, anybody has motivation, that's a deal, right? Or it's a potential deal. So here you are. The only thing you know in this situation is that the seller has motivation. So let's take it to the next step. Seller has motivation. We know why seller finance is way better for him. It's not that he just wants to seller finance. Seller finance is actually better for every seller on the planet every single time. It's always better for them. And here's the specific reason why is because if he sets this up properly, he won't have to pay taxes on this sale. Because when you seller finance, you only pay taxes on money you receive. So let's say that he goes, well, I got to sell these assets and I want to donate them to my charities and I want to do this, that, and the other. Okay, well, Mr. Seller, why don't we set up a structure where we make a monthly payment to you until you're passing. And then once you pass away, the assignment or of payments now goes to your charity, and it's not a sale of those two things. And so there's not an event that would be taxable. We can structure it 100 different ways so he doesn't have to pay taxes on that sale. Okay. So for him, seller finance is better because he can get a higher purchase price, right? In wholesale, what do we got to do? The value of a wholesale deal is always based on what I can sell it for. The value of a deal in seller finance is what I can do with it, right? Can I turn into an Airbnb? Probably not. These are rentals, right? Okay, well, what does that produce in rental income then dictates the price. Here, it's like, what are my comps telling me, right? So we have to figure out 4 things. Anytime you're talking to a seller about seller finance, you have to figure out 4 things. Number 1, what's my purchase price? Obviously, okay? What's my purchase price for all 400 units? Number 2, what is my down payment? Seems obvious. And number 3, what is my interest rate? And number 4, what is my term? Okay, so term could be length of time. It could be an escalating payment, or the rents are really compressed because they haven't done renovations. So let's say that I buy a deal on seller finance that the rental has not been able to be elevated because they haven't, a lot of landlords, they won't touch their properties for 20, 30 years. They'll become slumlords.
Right.
And so I take over a deal on seller finance and I can't raise the rents until I go in, vacate the tenant, clean up the property, raise rents. And so sometimes that takes 12 months to 18 months to accomplish. So I can structure in my terms. This is the terms part. This is the part that gets everybody tripped up because they're not creative, right? They couldn't, if you had to tell them when they're like, go out and make money, they're like, wait, I can only make money when people tell me what to do. Like a creative person in general will dominate in this industry because you go, all right, I have a non-cash flowing asset. It's going to take me 18 months. How would this work? Okay, well, what if I tell the seller, I can't make any payments to you for 18 months while I stabilize the asset and raise the rents? And that actually is my offer, right? In wholesale, you knuckleheads in wholesale, I am a wholesaler too, but you knuckleheads in wholesale, it's like all you've learned how to do is lowball people at 50 cents on the dollar and sell it to somebody for $10,000 or $15,000 assignments. Like, whoop-de-doo, look what I learned. In creative finance, where the challenge comes in is that it's way easier to get a deal done, but it's challenging because you have to allow your mind to solve a problem, right? So I don't know the problems the seller has, right? All you're saying is he wants to sell, what do I do? Okay, well, you got to figure out purchase price, down payment, interest rate, and term. Term, typically the term of the contract would be contingent upon the first 3. In order to get the purchase price, you'll write this down. You need rent rolls. You need rent rolls and P&Ls. Mm-hmm. And so people come to me and they go, Pace, would you be interested in this multifamily deal? I'm like, do you have a rent roll? And they go, what's a rent roll? I'm like,
right. That's, yeah.
Or people go, your dad's a blue collar guy, right?
Yeah.
Were you in the trades?
I've been doing my own construction company for the last like 20 years.
Love it. This is exactly why I asked him this question, because I could tell he's been in construction just looking at it. So, and I was a contractor for 10 years, so I know this game. If somebody told you they were going to sell you a power drill for $300, what would you say to them?
What would I say to them?
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on.
You see how I stumped you right out of the gate, where you're like, wait, I'm not even sure where to go with this. So like when somebody comes to me and go, hey, Pace, I got a 500 multifamily unit thing. Do you want this? I'm like, dude, is the power drill a DeWalt? Does it come with batteries? Like, give me some freaking information, man. If you're trying to sell me a Ryobi for $300, the answer is hell no. If you're trying to sell me a freaking Milwaukee with a full battery pack and like a tool box for $300, that's a deal, baby. I'm going to show you something that will blow your mind. This is the kind of bullshit that people send me. Okay. So this morning, while you were DMing or texting me, somebody was DMing me. And the question was, here's what they say. Oh my gosh, please, my computer. Okay. Can you see that? He says, good morning. I have a house here in Dallas, Texas, that would be a great Airbnb. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Right. Why did I write, I'm so proud of you? Because that's my way of saying, hey, asshole, what the freak are we talking about here? You're trying to sell me a DeWalt drill or a Milwaukee drill or a Ryobi drill. And the funny thing is, I would buy a Ryobi drill for $300. if I didn't have to give you the $300 until I went out and used it and made $5,000, right? That's terms. So he says to me, the next thing he says, and I'll read the rest to you because it's hard to see. He says, I was bringing it to you. I go, oh, I guess I didn't think you'd be bringing it to me without an address, a purchase price, down payment, interest rate. I was so confused because if you're trying to sell something to your customer, which I'm your customer, it's always a best practice to not make your customers guess what the hell your product is, right? If I'm walking down the sidewalk in New York City and I'm just like heading to get a hot dog and some guy walks out of his store and he goes, hey man, I got some really good stuff in here. Okay, man, I'm busy, leave me alone. When you come to me, Chris, and I did the Zoom for you because I want to make sure you understand this. When you go approach somebody like me, you need to make sure you have those 4 things in order to sell the deal to somebody like me.